As a movie enthusiast with a penchant for epic sagas that span galaxies and challenge the status quo, I find myself utterly intrigued by Denis Villeneuve's approach to the adaptation of Frank Herbert's Dune series. The first two films were masterfully crafted, transporting us into a world of politics, religion, and spice-fueled intrigue that left audiences yearning for more. What do you know for being studied? In his own words, director Denis Villeneuve clarifies that Dune Messiah won't be part of a trilogy franchise following the release of Dune Part 2. After wrapping up the most initial chapter of Paul Atreides' Timothée Chalamet's journey, Villeneuve is actively working on sketching out the plot for Dune Messiah, which draws inspiration from Frank Herbert's book with the same title. The story takes place 12 years after the events of Dune and brings Paul's tale to a close within the scope of the known universe. In an interview with Vanity Fair, Villeneuve explains why his upcoming adaptation of Dune Messiah won't follow a trilogy format. He clarifies that the first two Dune films he directed were actually part of a two-piece set, and the third movie will stand independently with its own unique cinematic approach and fresh philosophical perspective. Here's what he shares on this topic. And essentially the first two movies based on Dune function as a set or pair, serving as an adaptation of the first book. And these films are now complete. And if I were to make a third film, it would represent a fresh endeavor for me rather than being part of a traditional trilogy. It would have its own distinct feel and identity. In essence, I view Dune as a concluded story, while Dune Messiah would be a new exploration with its unique cinematic approach. And initially, the initial two Dune films were both applauded by critics and audiences alike, yet Denis Villeneuve could be venturing into the riskiest phase of his career by bringing Dune Messiah to life on screen. This acclaimed director has other projects lined up, such as an adaptation of Rendezvous with Rama and Cleopatra, before possibly directing the third film. However, Dune Messiah might just become Villeneuve's most divisive movie, particularly for those who haven't read Herbert's book. Towards the close of Dune Part 2, Paul proclaims himself as the son of Gaib and defies Shaddam IV for the imperial throne. He manages to slay Feyd-Rafi Harkonnen. Furthermore, he proposes to Princess Aruan, Florence Pugh, and she agrees following the Emperor's surrender. This event triggers a sacred conflict that could be disastrous from the entire known universe, causing Chinese Zendaya to depart from Paul, venturing off into obscurity. The film Dune Messiah delves into the repercussions of the Holy War initiated by Atreides and its subsequent effects. Director Denis Villeneuve has mentioned that Paul Atreides' transition into the Lisan al-Gaib might not be portrayed as heroic, which could potentially disturb viewers. Additionally, the story takes place 12 years after the first book, representing a significant time leap. If Villeneuve decides to maintain this aspect, it will present new adaptational hurdles following the release of the initial two Dune movies.